Oh, come on. Who wrote this? Disney's new Snow White has managed to do everything wrong, and it's upset a lot of people in the process. For some reason, they thought the dwarf called Sleepy wouldn't simply be a tired little chap amusingly prone to falling asleep like in the 1937 animation. Instead, he was reimagined as suffering from neurological disorders, and then, amusingly, having to deal with the consequences of those disorders. Not only is this very insensitive to make what are serious conditions a running gag, they can't even get the conditions that they're poking fun at right. Sleepy is said to suffer from narcolepsy with cataplexy, but they then completely mischaracterize those conditions. Narcolepsy is a chronic condition that makes it suffer as excessively drowsy during the day and prone to sleep attacks. Daytime drowsiness can have a big impact on a person's quality of life, making it very hard to stay awake and concentrate at school or at work, which is something sleep apnea sufferers know only too well. Sleep attacks can even be worse. They cause people with narcolepsy to suddenly fall asleep without warning and can occur at any time without specific triggers. The frequency and duration of these sleep attacks can vary greatly. They can last from a few seconds to several minutes, and they can occur as often as several times a day if the condition is not well managed. Funny stuff, Disney. Cataplexy is a condition that often accompanies narcolepsy, but its triggers and symptoms are very different. Cataplexy is not about sleep at all. It's about sudden loss of muscle control triggered by emotionally charged events. A person with cataplexy might suffer a cataplexy attack after being triggered by something like excitement, laughter, anger, or surprise. A cataplexy attack, though, is something very different to sleep. Typical symptoms include localized muscle weakness or loss of control, like the jaw suddenly dropping open or the head slumping down. Or it can involve other localized effects like blurred vision or slurred speech. But it can also be something that affects the entire body, where the person's legs, they just give way, and the person collapses or the whole body freezes up as if it's paralyzed. Again, these episodes can last from a few seconds to several minutes. But during this time, the person is not asleep. They're fully conscious. And in episodes of complete paralysis, the person is experiencing something like locked-in syndrome. Cataplexy is, of course, a condition about as suitable for a regular punchline aimed at an audience of little children as a bout of serious epileptic seizures would be. But Disney thinks otherwise, apparently. And when Disney presents sleepy symptoms, they regularly mix and match those of narcolepsy with those of cataplexy. For example, they mention that in emotional situations such as when he gets worried, he falls asleep. He's then showing falling asleep in the middle of a stressful situation like fighting, and less stressful ones like when having a conversation. At times, he sleeps standing up. At others, his legs give way and he falls over. As discussed, it's a cataplexic attack that might be triggered by a stressful situation and make a person's legs give way, but they would very much not be asleep. They would just feel the loss of control over their limbs and suddenly collapse, fully awake and conscious. Or they might experience a sleep attack in the middle of talking, but this would have no particular trigger and would come with no muscle weakness. Now you might think this is all pretty harmless, but this is a children's movie, and so it's likely to shape their view of these conditions and what kind of responses to them are acceptable. And it would have been so easy for Disney to either not make Sleepy's behavior a medical issue, like the old classic version, or use it as an opportunity to raise awareness about a genuine condition and its effects on those who suffer with it. As with so many things in this movie, Disney managed to combine the worst of both worlds by laughing at a mischaracterized but serious condition. Not great. But maybe it isn't all bad news. Raising awareness of sleeping disorders, even if done in a completely ham-fisted way, does at least draw attention to them. And by making YouTube videos like this one in response, we can try to correct the errors and set the record straight, and maybe some good might come out of this completely avoidable fiasco. After all, many people just deal with poor sleep and the effect that it has on their life, not realizing that they have sleep apnea, insomnia, narcolepsy, or some other kind of sleeping disorder. And by the way, if that might be you, there is a simple way to get it tested at home, so you should check that out. Okay, my rant is over. So to all of those that struggle with their sleep, both I and RespShop wish you a very good night, and we also hope that you sleep tight. I'll see you on the next one.